We're live. What is up, guys, and welcome in. It's Mountaineer Paul, back home. Finally made it back home. You guys got to hear me gripe about that for about a month and a half. You don't never appreciate home until you're away from home for an extended period of time and unable to go back. So let's start out this live episode with some gratitude for a lot of reasons today, right? Um, Obviously, against TCU, Aubrey Burks, Trae Lathan, Wyatt Milum, and others were all involved in their own injuries and on different scales. And, there was dirty play. I think a lot of us called out certain players from TCU before that. Thankfully, Wyatt Milum will be on the left side tomorrow night or afternoon when we play the Pokes. And I don't mean to discredit or not give it its proper due that Wyatt's coming back, because from all indications from what I heard, Dominic Williams got knuckle deep in his eye. And that's why it's taken as long as it has for him to come back. It's not like he just got hit in the eye or poked in the eye. This guy was pissed that Zach Frazier was whipping his butt, that he was getting beat, and he was acting out in frustration on certain plays. And the play against Wyatt Milum was no freaking different. And so he was knuckle deep in that eye. That said, what Aubrey Burks has gone through, recovered from, and practiced all week up until this point, and all indications is that we get him back tomorrow night or afternoon. I keep saying night because we played so many night games. It is nothing short of a miracle. Can't be more proud of the kid for coming back from. Let's just keep it real and say what it is. This was trauma, right? This is trauma. You're not sure if you're ever going to be able to walk again. Extremities are numb. They're not wanting to move over a game. Yes, it's a game that can change your life. But at the end of the day, it's still a game. And Aubrey Burks is lucky to be walking, much less not having some kind of brain injury, much less playing in another football game only a couple weeks later. It's no less than a miracle to me. Damar Hamlin came to mind for me when that happened. I thought, oh no, here we have another situation on our hands. Obviously, that was a Pitt player. So to me, I look at Aubrey's situation, and it makes you more grateful to be able to do the things you can from day to day, right? And so I don't talk about my personal life a lot on here. And a lot of you guys know that I am very open and honest with you guys that I'm in recovery and have been clean for a few years. Just celebrated 3 years last month. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'll show these guys, kind of where it is that I came from a little bit. Just something I'm really proud of, guys. And yes, it is a little bit on the crazier side. But I want you guys to see what true belief can do for somebody in life. Because when I started this show a little over a year ago, I really didn't have any direction in life. I was clean. That's all I knew. I wasn't happy. And so I kind of dove into this thing a little bit. And I want you to see the beginning. And this is still working on myself. But something, hopefully the end result is better than even this result. But this is what I looked like before I got clean. I was on death's doorstep. And when you start talking about being grateful for things in life, I'm grateful to be able to talk to you guys. I'm grateful for you guys as my listeners, to have you guys to talk to commune with, to talk West Virginia football, and really enjoy the small things in life, because for a long time I didn't enjoy anything. And so just seeing Aubrey come back and things like that really kind of had me in my feels a little bit. And I feel like if I can't connect with you guys on a more personal level, someday I might lose you as a listener, and that's not what I want. So I want you guys to stick around here. I want you guys to believe in me. Understand that I have my ups and downs. Like I said, I just wasn't in my own home for almost a month and a half. Wasn't able to record like I wanted to, and here we are. So thank you guys, man. You guys don't know how much you mean to me. All the channel members, I see you. You guys mean everything to me, and you guys really are good people. We are all Mountaineer fans at the end of the day, and through that kinship, we were all related in one way or another, right? So I hope that guys gives you guys just a little bit of an insight into what I came from and who I am today, and maybe why I am like I am. And so yes, resilience is a good way to put it. So Civil Mark with the hat. That's funny, man. I didn't wear my hat for an episode, and he was like, I didn't even recognize you. Obviously, I put on a lot of weight since that other picture. Excuse me. Um, and so yeah, but I don't look quite like myself without the hat. Thanks, Timothy Green. We are styling profiling, brother. Yeah, Matthew, that's a rough picture, man. Yeah, it's a rough one, and it's a graphic picture. I was 179 pounds. I don't want to make this about me. This is a football show, but I do have an intention to someday talking about my recovery on another platform because I think my story can help others. I don't go into the details all the way because there's some of you that may not come back if I did that. To be honest, I was a very bad person, and I had to, number one, find a source of inspiration, a higher power. Some people like to call that God or Jesus. I had to find certain things in order to really, truly change. I went through 12 rehabs, inpatient, all 6 months or longer. A lot of my life was trying to figure out who I was, and why I was like I was. So thankfully, what it's enabled me to do is channel it into this and hopefully make this one of the best damn West Virginia YouTube show there is around. May not have credentials, may not be a media guy, but I've worked really hard to get where I'm at. So, back to the team. I think this is a big deal for us. I think Aubrey and Wyatt were two huge missing pieces to last week's team. You talk about the running game that's, by the way, not as bad as people think. I think I have it. I might have it saved. Let me see if I can put it on here real quick. And I didn't edit it so that it would be, there's one, so that it would be big on the screen. So I apologize for that. But these are some of the national, and this is from West Virginia Sports, Keenan Cummings and those guys over at Rivals. They posted this on their site. These are some of the national numbers for our team. And you look at that rushing offense, we're 34th in the country at 185 yards a game, right? And here's some other ones. I'll leave those up for just a second so you guys can have a look at them. So 185 yards a game. I do think losing Wyatt hurt the continuity of the offensive line, most definitely. Wyatt's really coming to his own. And outside of the Houston kid, who's probably going to be maybe the number one overall pick when he comes out, Patrick Paul, I think Wyatt's got a case to make for one of the 2 or 3 best linemen in this conference alongside Zach Frazier. So he's a huge loss, right? The bigger loss, though, is probably Aubrey Burks, who was an emotional leader on this team. He's a guy that a lot of us probably said all week, if Aubrey Burks is back there, that Hail Mary doesn't happen. I believe that. I truly do believe that. I think he would have had our guys more ready to go. So that's just my opinion. I would like to know what some of you guys think about the additions of these guys. Hey, thanks. No problem, Matthew. Listen, that's just one thing I've learned. Then, I'll stay off the recovery thing. But one thing I've learned is in order to keep it, you have to give it away, right? That's something you hear. And basically what that means is I have to share my experience, strength, and hope with other individuals like me. May not be the same kind of thing they're struggling with, but they're struggling. And then I get to keep some sense of sanity in return. To keep it, you have to give it away. So that's what I try to do. I try to do it on here because I want you guys to know who I am. If this isn't for you, if me being in recovery or an addict is something that an addict in recovery that is something that bothers you, and some people it does, you can go to another place, because it's a huge part of who I am, and there's no way that I could keep this thing going for any amount of time and not talk about it. It's just not who I am. Yeah, you gave me an idea for a show named Once Before, didn't you, Mark? I remember that. Awesome, Earthier. Appreciate that, man. David Cummings, one of my favorites around here, said, "I hope W fans aren't giving up on this team. I found tickets for $38 a piece, 3 rows off the field on the Mountaineers sideline. I will be there, wet and cold, and cheering my ass off." That's something I haven't looked at the forecast yet. Is it supposed to be another monsoon? And I'll tell you this, it favors us guys. Don't get it twisted. We're the more physical team. And I think that's going to bear out on Saturday. We don't want to get in a track meet with these guys. First of all, they've got 3 really good corners. People ask, how did Kansas throw it all over the yard against Oklahoma State with such good corners? If you haven't watched the Mike Gundy press conference yet, I really encourage you to. He talked about how Kansas was using unbalanced formations, and we're getting into they didn't even know these guys were eligible. The line was so blurred on it. They looked like tackles. Mason Fairchild lined up on the end, looked like a tackle. He was actually an eligible receiver, and he sprints down the seam for a wide open touchdown. Kansas did that 2 or 3 times to them on that day. And so that's been a big discussion point for them. That's one of the reasons they give up so many passing yards. Congrats on 5 years, my dude. I appreciate that, Timothy Green, for sharing, guys. It's all I love when you guys share that stuff. It makes me happy. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, David. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Timothy. I think that's everybody. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think the addition of Aubrey is going to clear up what happened last week? Because obviously, let's keep it real. In the second half, Donovan Smith started out for 11 for 11. Listen, and he was not the most accurate passer coming into this. He got in a groove. Now, Alan Bowman, one thing about him, even though, the kid last week didn't really scramble a bunch, Alan Bowman's pretty much a statue back there too, although he can move a little bit. They're going to want to get the ball out quick, and that's my fear for this, right? I think Bowman's not going to sit back there and let our pass rush get home. So what's our secondary got with Aubrey back? We'll see. It's going to be something we're going to have to see. Obviously, losing Trae Lathan has killed the pass rush. He was a top 25 pass rushing by the numbers, top 25 in Big 12, which is pretty good for a linebacker. We need to use Devin in the slot. Yeah, I think they figured something out with that last week. Absolutely. Yeah, I think the defense will show up. I picked us to win this game 27-20. That's the kind of game I think it's going to be. Somebody tell me about the weather. Somebody mentioned wet, wild, and cold. Is it going to be wet, wild, and cold tomorrow? Because that's kind of going to change things for me. I hadn't considered the weather yet. So, I've got a phone right here. I can look it up myself. I hope not. I kind of do and I kind of don't. It's one of those things like I'm not sure who it benefits. By the way, I got to give the sponsor a shout out, guys. You guys look up the weather for tomorrow real quick, somebody, while I give the sponsor a shout out. This episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing. Only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. Thank you, guys. All right, what we got here? 46% chance of rain, high 55. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. It might seem a little chilly to Oklahoma State. We'll see. We'll see. Um, I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to this game. I just have a feeling we're going to make a comeback in this game, guys. Yeah, we should only have one loss, but I'll take two at this point in the season, especially if you win this football game. Mike Gundy always scares the crap out of me. He always will. He's he's still to this day one of the most underrated coaches in America. If you haven't watched my video from a few days ago where I did the Oklahoma State preview with the Pistols guys, X platform people, he's got like 50,000 followers over there. Really knows his Oklahoma State. We had a good conversation. Check that out. He's got a few insights into that game. I think a few keys for the game for me are going to be stopping Ollie Gordon. It's going to be a huge key in this game. But I want to make Alan Bowman beat us. I think we've got to bear down on Ollie Gordon, make Alan Bowman beat us in this football game. I am not sold on Alan Bowman yet. I'm just not. He's had a couple of good games. He had a really good game the last game he played. But much like I would say they're feeling about Garrett, we're going to make Garrett Green beat us. He's only done that twice, really, if you count the Oklahoma game where he was just throwing bombs like that. So let's make Garrett Green beat us. We'll stop C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White, and, Justin and Jalen and all those guys. And speaking of Jalen Anderson, he had the game of his life, 155 yards or something like that last year against the Pokes. That's a big deal. I wonder if he's got confidence coming into this week, even though he seems to be in the doghouse. Could another player break out this week? Could a Justin Johnson, who's coming back healthy this week, break out? He's extremely elusive and a side-to-side cutter, much like Tony. Is he what we've been needing to get some more positive traction out of this run game besides 4 yards in a cloud of dust? I'll be interested to find that out. Yeah, he'll be a huge addition. I agree. Absolutely. He's one of the best. Timothy Green says 31-27 WVU. Guys, if you haven't liked the video, please hit that like button. Just, even if you got to click off for a second, hit that like button. If you haven't commented after the fact, leave a comment after the video's over. Would love to hear your thoughts on all this. And lastly, guys, don't forget that super chat button down below. This is my full-time job. This is what I do for a living. So if you've got it in you to be able to support me that way, or you can hit the channel member button, which, by the way, let me know down below if you're a channel member and you do not have the Discord link, because I just haven't been able to get everybody in there yet. Seems like we're having a hard time getting everybody together. So I would really appreciate that. If you're a channel member, you pay one of the 2 monthly fees, and you don't have a Discord link, please let me know, and I'll get that to you. It's one way or the other. As of right now, we've only got a couple people in there, and I can't get all the perks that I want to get going with that, which is, by the way, if you're not a channel member, we're going to have perks like I got some inside info right now about a teammate, about somebody on the team that is just burning a hole in my pocket, So I think some people know about it already. It's been posted here and there. We'll see what happens with it, but certainly there are some red flags on this team in the secondary that we'll see if they come to light. That's all I'll say about that. Nothing about the game really, but we may not have a member of this team going forward, so we'll see. And obviously, I think they said Tomas is questionable. That's another thing. I really think he's an unheralded player. He was a freshman All-American too. And losing him, I think, really hurts. He's a big, strong kid that doesn't look as big as the other ones. But, man, he's a good player. And I really hope Tomas comes back soon. I think Neil said UCF for him, which is unfortunate because I think we're going to need him for this game. But we'll see. I also think the extra couple of days of rest are going to help us. Hopefully they don't hurt us as far as rust goes. That's another thing you got to kind of worry about. All right, we got a few people with some predictions. Timothy Green said 31-27. 38 watching, only 19 likes. Thanks to Mark. Matthew H. says if it rains, 16-13 WVU. If it doesn't, 34-28, they would have you. That's a big difference. You put that much of a factor into the win, do you, Matthew? I think it depends on, obviously. I mean, this is obvious, but how much rain are we talking? Just sprinkling, and you can get the ball dry in between possessions, and then maybe it doesn't affect us as much. It's gonna be hard to say. But mostly, I just wanted to get on here and talk about Aubrey. Him being cleared, Wyatt being cleared, and just kind of a preview for the game. Obviously, we'll be going live after the game tomorrow, win, lose, or draw. If anybody doesn't have much else to say, I was going to cut it short. I mean, I don't really do, unless we have a bunch of topics lined up, a bunch of, I don't do these hour-long deals really because I don't have that much to talk about by myself. And there's only 40 of us in here, so the chat hadn't really been flying through like that. So hit the like button, like you're there, however you say that, Earth Ether. Yes, Matthew, what is it, brother? Earth Ether. I think that's how you say it. Thanks, Timothy. I appreciate that, man. Really do. I agree. Try to put it out, Got a few things lined up I think you guys will be excited about here coming up. Well, yeah, I think it's there are people in the ACC that think that's a package that could help keep that conference afloat for the next round around. It's out there. I've heard of it, and I've read about it. I think when they had the meetings, there was supposedly a president that one of the presidents that mentioned this, and so it does have a little bit of traction. I don't think it's going to take a lot for West Virginia to leave the Big 12. Maybe going with TCU would be a big deal for sure. And then it would obviously depend on who was still in the ACC. I mean, would you want to go to the ACC without Clemson and Florida State? If TCU comes with us, would you want to do that? Or do you think with Brand, because Baylor's having a down year, but I mean, here in the last 15 years, they've been excellent football brand, excellent basketball brand, a recent national championship. Kansas is on the way up. And then you think about Utah, where they're at, as much as I hate to say it, because they've been horrible on social media. I mean, I think the potential for this conference to become strong is there. And I just don't know, with the way Pitt and Virginia Tech has looked at us in the last 4 years, if we all go in the same conference, what will happen? Will we all be just mediocre? It scares me. It really does. Oh, that's very possible, Matthew. Mark says no to the ACC. Earth Ether says we won't go due to money. We're already struggling. Possible so. Been a little busy over on DraftKings. Have you done anywhere? Well, have you done well for yourself, Eric Flowers? That's Ollie Gordon, I'm assuming you're talking about. Don't forget, guys, they've got Presley, who is a really good player who they move around in motion. They get in the ball in the passing game a lot. And he was their starter coming into the year. Ollie is basically their C.J. Donaldson. He's 6'1", 225, 230 pounds. He looks a lot like C.J. in pads. I said this in my other video the other day. That's what caught my eye last year when I seen him. So I think we can stop him. But if Alan Bowman is spreading the ball around, then that's where I get worried. I don't know if we can stop both. Yes, I think special teams will be better. Yes, I think defense will be better. Anytime you add Aubrey Burks to secondary, it's going to be better, right? Ben Cutter's in his second full game as a starter now. He was gassed in that Houston game, guys. He just was. Go back and watch the fourth quarter of that game. Ben Cutter had never played high level ball that many snaps before. He's only going to get better. He's a big, muscular kid, and I think he was gassed. He really truly was. Say no to the ACC and wait for Clemson and FSU to leave and take out a pick. Yeah, lost a lot of games by point or half point. That's how it works. No problem, brother. Yeah, so was Lee. Well, we don't have any depth there. That's why we've been. That's why they ask every week about Tyreek Austin Cave. We really need him to get back healthy, because we need some depth at the linebacker spot, guys, badly, really badly. We had our answer with Trae Lathan. Actually, Trae ended up being better than anybody we could have got out of the portal, and then unfortunately that happens to him. Next year, guys, if Neal sticks around, our linebacker room is going to be absolutely loaded, and I know most of us know that, but seriously, when you look at it, and you look at Lee Koba, who will be gone, unfortunately, but we'll have Ben Cutter back. Trae Lathan will be back. And don't forget that Trotter kid who only has NFL royalty for a dad, who, according to Coach Brown in the offseason, might have been the best of the bunch in the offseason. And then James Hurt Jr., who's been hurt, who I predicted to have a freshman All-American season, who has not done that. Unfortunately, I was wrong there, but it's been because of injury. I still think he's going to be an incredible pass rusher for us when he gets it right. I just think if we can make it to next year, I really truly do believe. We've got 2 years left with CJ. We've got 2 years left with Garrett or Nico, or if you want to bring in even a transfer, whoever. We can always get more skilled talent. Our offensive line is in a good spot where, if you're looking at the future, I think we've got rotation. I think when these guys are going to leave, the offensive line's probably going to drop off unless we go to the portal and get really good players. A little bit. But we've got good players in the wings waiting to come up. Johnny Williams, Sully Weidman, the Kyle Altuner, who's coming in next year, will start as a freshman. I do believe that. I've watched his tape. He reminds me so much of Zach Frazier. It's incredible. Kyle Altuner, our 2024 guard/center kind of player that we have selected as a recruit. And then, we're going to have to get better skill talent, but I think Traylon Ray and Rodney are a great starting point. So if we can just get to next year, Neal can win 8 games. I think next year is going to be the year for us. I truly do. We'll be a little bit young, but if he can just add season in the right places, and if Neal wins enough games, they're going to support him in NIL. And that's really what they're waiting on. He didn't get the money that we got in basketball. So he had to go get – you've seen the kind of players they had to go get. Some of the players from last year are contributing this year. The portal, Marcus Floyd, Hershey McLaurin, guys like that. So, I think next year is going to be a big year for us, as long as we can add a few pieces, and I think we will. So, all right, guys, I'm going to order some Giovanni's pizza. I'm starving. Yeah, me too, man. I do too. I had to stop him. Charles, I don't know yet, but that's who I was alluding to earlier. There's some rumors out there about Lance, and I haven't corroborated those yet. Although I have reached out to my sources who are not just YouTubers. These are guys that work in the media. There is credence to it. We're not sure exactly what's going on. All I'll say is go watch the kickoff return against Houston on the touchdown and see what he did. I think that's where a lot of people are starting. It's out there on YouTube or on X right now. I think a few people posted stuff about Lance Dixon. So we'll see. We can't afford the hit to the secondary, so I'm trying not to blow this thing up. But and honestly, I don't know if he's in trouble or not. I don't. So I don't want to get on here and act like I do. But there are rumors going on. So we'll see. Guys, appreciate you. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Don't forget to comment. This has been another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talk Football, y'all. This episode's over, and I am out. Let's go Mountaineers and beat the Pokes tomorrow, baby.